Now, the documents point to, as you mentioned, Israel.
Yeah.
Prior to the assassination,
Correct.
there was conversations that took place, and this is all obviously documented, where Kennedy is now pulling funds from Israel.
Correct.
He wants to investigate what's really going on in Israel
with the nuclear program.
Exactly.
Because they had been riding Kennedy to give them nuclear weapons technology. And he refused.
So Kennedy turns around and says, well, there's a bunch of funds coming into Israel. Now you want a nuclear program.
Right.
I refuse to give you a nuclear program. And in fact, we're actually going to be more or less auditing what's actually...
He was considering sanctions.
Yes. Auditing what's actually going on to consider these sanctions. And then, boom.
He also told his girlfriend, Mary Pinchot Meyer.
I thought you were going to say Marilyn Monroe.
No. Mary Meyer was married to Cord Meyer, who was the number 3 at the CIA. Mary and Cord and Kennedy had all gone to school together. They were great friends from childhood. Mary and Cord got married. Kennedy continued his affair with Mary all through the marriage. Their marriage broke up in the late 1950s because their 9-year-old son had been hit by a car and was killed crossing Chambridge Road in McLean. And so, when people lose a child, oftentimes the marriage can't survive. So they got a divorce. She continued to see Kennedy. She said in her diary that 3 weeks before he died, he told her that he was going to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the wind. Now, he also told McGeorge Bundy the same thing, his national security advisor. Bundy wrote that in his memoir. He had said it to other people. That tells me he was serious about it. That he recognized in 1963, this CIA, this thing is out of control.
Now, if he's saying this to his girlfriend who he's having an affair with,
whose husband is the number 3, ex-husband is the number 3 in the CIA.
Imagine who else he's been telling that same story.
He was genuinely worried about the CIA. They're out of control. They're out there overthrowing governments and assassinating world leaders and spying on Americans. I have a buddy. He was one of my first bosses at the CIA, and he told me that he started in the CIA in the 70s as an intern. Right? There's a classified internship program. You have to be like really, really clean, to get this internship. And James Angleton it was like his final year as the deputy director for counterintelligence. He was a monster of historic proportions. So my buddy starts in that office, and the secretary showed him around that day, gave him a tour of the office. And he said, when you first walked in, there was an entire wall that was just covered with shelves, and the shelves had file folders on them. And the secretary said, whatever you do, don't look in those files. You're not cleared for those files. Well, he's like, I'm 22 years old. What do you think I'm going to do? He said, the first time he was left alone in the office, he went straight to the files. He said every single one of those files was on an American citizen.
These are CIA files.
Mm-hmm.
But why was Kennedy threatening or considering dismantling the CIA?
Because it was out of control.
But the CIA director is hired by the president, no?
Which is why he fired Allen Dulles and named John McCone. Allen Dulles was named CIA director by Eisenhower. His brother, John Foster Dulles, Dulles Airport, was the Secretary of State under Eisenhower. They were two of the darkest figures in modern American history. And Kennedy's like, these guys are just killing everybody, overthrowing every government that looks at them cross-eyed. I'll give you another example. Guatemala in the 1950s. Okay, there was a wealthy businessman from Boston whose name escapes me, and this is right around the turn of the 20th century, and he decides he wants to build a railroad from Guatemala City to the coast, right? So that his ships can dock there and everything can be loaded, and he can bring the goods to the United States. So he hires all these poor, illiterate workers to just, clear the jungle and then lay the track for the railroad. Every day, when they take their break in the middle of the day, they're picking these fruits from the side of the, area where they're working. And he said, what are these fruits that these guys eat? And he was told, these are called bananas. He had never heard of this fruit before, right? So he tries one. He says, my God, it's delicious. And they're growing everywhere. And he makes this decision that he's going to buy all the land on both sides of the track, and he's going to sell the bananas in the United States. So he renames his company the United Fruit Company. Okay? So he ends up becoming the largest landowner in all of Central America. And it's all about the bananas. By 1955, the democratically elected government of Guatemala says, the Americans pay us like a nickel an hour. They take all our bananas. They're making millions of dollars. We're not making anything. We should nationalize the banana industry and take over this United Fruit Company. Okay, who are 3 members of the board of directors of the National Fruit Company? Allen Dulles, the head of the CIA, John Foster Dulles, the Secretary of State, and President Eisenhower's secretary's brother. So what do? They overthrow the Guatemalan government and install a military dictator, which gives rise to the term Banana Republic. And the United Fruit Company, under a different name, is still the biggest company in Guatemala.
They monopolize it as well.
Mm-hmm. Kennedy's like, what the fuck is going on here? The CIA can just overthrow a government to protect the banana trade?
Did you enjoy that clip? Click over here to watch the full episode, and click over here to subscribe to the WiseNuts podcast YouTube channel.